Let's take a ride in the Prologue, shall we? So here it is. It's in the driveway. It's locked. I am going somewhere to the store. That's your unlock. And once you look in here, you can see that it tells you what your battery percentage is as you walk up and unlock the vehicle. Here I am, and it's telling me 74%. Go ahead and shut the door. It's got a real nice sound, and there it's reacting to that. Then we're going to press the brake pedal and the power button. And that was your startup sequence. The Blazer EV and this are really similar. They have almost all the same stuff, but this has CarPlay and the Blazer doesn't. So if we were in the Blazer, it would start like this, and you would be using something like that, which you can get some apps. And it's all Google stuff, so pretty easy to access. This is a controls button, but you can also get those right here. This stuff is customizable. You can move it around. So if you've got something where you don't want it, you can change that. If the screen looks weird, that's because I haven't peeled off the plastic yet. So I've done that with both screens. I haven't peeled off the plastic yet. Right now it's telling me this right here is where my state of charge is. You get weather and music by default. And then if you were to set a GPS navigation destination, that would move to here. It'll also be up here, but if you want to move throughout this screen, it'll still be here. And you can, once again, change that in settings. And you go to display instrument cluster, and you can move the turn-by-turn graphics off of here if you don't want them there. So I haven't learned everything about this car, but that doesn't mean I can't take you on a drive. But we are started up. This is my odometer. This is my miles of range. This is what gear I'm in. This is who is buckled up and who is not. So if I buckle up, and you can tell that changed right there. That's how it is. This is the exact same icon from the Blazer EV. And this is the power output, which is really, really helpful for both showing your power and your regen. And it also gives you an idea of how much power you're putting back into the battery when you regen, because this number gets pretty big, which is really nice. So before we set up, here's our climate control. You have two USB-C down here, and then this is the cup holder. So this is the same cup that you had to shove physically into the Fisker Ocean, and then it had to like rearrange itself physically when you pulled it back out. And it wasn't happy with it. But as you can tell, this has plenty of room, but it also has these receptacles that catch it and hold it, so that's really nice. The phones go here, and that's your wireless charger. It works with most phones and most cases, so I haven't had any issues with that. This here is the climate control. I have it set to auto, but you can do everything here. This is front defrost, rear defrost, up and down with your fans. This is your cabin circulate, your AC button. And then this one switches to heat manually if you're not running auto. You also have your heated seats right here. These would be cooled seats in the Elite trim. This does not have cooled seats. And then down in here, I've got a lot of space. And I've got a couple of garage door opener keys and a wire and a little charging brick. That's your tub. The armrest is really wide. You can have two people fully situated here and both share the armrest in the event you want to do that. 12 volt is here. You can definitely use that if you need to. And then the glove box is standard size. Nothing too crazy going on in here. These are some of your other maintenance books. I've got the owner's manual in the house. I've been reading it. The stereo is Bose. This is a 12 speaker stereo. You've got them here. You've got them there. And this is kind of funny. Do you guys recognize that from your 80s, 90s cars? That little push up and down for lock. It's pretty funny. This is really standard here. You've got your auto up, down on the front. This is the mirror controls, left mirror, right mirror. And that's your navigator for that. I don't like the fact that this is piano black, and as you can see, even though the car is really clean, you just cannot keep these clean at all. The door sound is nice, the storage is nice. I've got some hand sanitizer down here in this cup holder, but there's plenty of space. Right there is your trunk trigger, and the count to open it is a 2 count. And now your rear hatch is open. If I wanted to close the rear hatch, you can also do that from inside the car. Now, setting the height of the rear hatch is really weird. So if we're doing that, we need to go to settings, and then vehicle settings, and then comfort and convenience, and then power rear gate opening. And this has to be set to custom before you can press and hold on the close button back there to set your height. So it defaults to maximum. So when you first get your Prologue, this is probably one of the first places you want to go, and you want to change that to custom. Otherwise, it just opens all the way every time, and there's nothing you can do until you change that setting. I struggled a lot with that. In fact, I pulled all of the groceries out from the back in the garage. I had to use that switch to lower the seat, and I had to pull them out from inside the cab because I couldn't open the door, and it was raining outside, and I didn't want to get out and get in the rain. The vents are standard, they're regular, you can control them. That's off all the way, and then you can open them back up. It's a GM, so the climate control is just absolutely stellar. It does a really good job. No complaints there. This stuff is a little bit stiffer than the Model Y. I'm not going to lie. This is a stiffer material. The seats are a little bit more stiff as well. The bolsters are okay. They're not great. But what I will say is that if you are on the larger side of life, if you're like a 6-footer or anywhere in that position, or you just like a lot of room in your seat, this is an awesome seat for you. And it's really comfortable. This is baby wipe clean. So really easy. The stitching I also like. It has like an orangish accent to it, and that theme kind of runs throughout the car. It gives it a little bit more of a premium feel. And of course, we have the 2 tones. So you have the gray and the darker gray. Down here, you've got a really nice storage area, and it's rather large. I mean, it's big. This is a rubberized material. So is this. It looks to me like this can be removed. In fact, yeah, it definitely can. Really durable for things that you're doing there. Let's take a look at the back seat. So here's your seat memory. Right here, this is just standard. Any car you're going to get, any modern car, this is just really exactly how that would work. I'll show you that in an upcoming video. Let's see what else we got here. Also, do you hear this? Until you shut that door, it's going to continue to make that sound. So if you have the driver's door open and the vehicle's on, you're going to get that sound. The back seat is really comfortable. I'm a 6-footer, and I'm sitting behind myself. I have a lot of room back here. Headroom is not as good. I don't have a lot. You got the same materials back here. This is a little bit softer than this, but obviously it's a middle seat, so it's not going to be super comfortable. Your ISOFIX are extremely easy to access. There's no zipper. So if you're a car seat family, then that's really going to be advantageous for you. There's not a lot going on back here. I just got these floor mats. These are about $140 online. Don't pay more than $140 for all-weather OEM Prologue mats. You can get them for $140 online. Don't buy them on eBay, because all the eBay people are doing is drop shipping. This is, you can just turn that off, and that'll go off. You turn it on. These are really nice. They blow nice cold climate air, and there's no other vents. But you do have the speakers back here. You've got a speaker in the upper part of the door and the lower part of the door. And then you've got a nice storage compartment here. It will not hold a regular phone in the landscape setting. So if you want to know that. But if you did want to set it with the back of the phone facing out, you've got 2 USB-Cs right here to charge everything. So Standard stuff here. This is some foam down in here. So right at the very edge here, it starts getting cheap. But as you can see, we've got this yellow stitching that's followed us around to the back seat. The view back here is really nice. You've got that panoramic roof, and this slides all the way forward in case you want to lock out the sun completely. There is no digital rear view mirror. It's just regular. So that guy is just a regular rear view mirror, but it does a real good job. Visibility is nice. This defaults to down here. So if you wanted to pull it up, you can. It does pull up, but you do have a pretty nice visibility back here. Seats are a 60-40 split, just like regular, and that one guy is going to bring it down. This also shows your level of recline, so if I want to push it back, that's what I'm going to get, and then one more pull and a push, and there's a slight recline that you can make there as well. So that's basically it. Not a whole lot interesting here in the back. You do get cup holders galore. You get two. These are actually almost exactly the same as the Ocean cup holders in the front. So I can show you what I was talking about in the Ocean, which is I just take this cup holder and you have to push it all the way down, and it will fit, but when you pull it out, those rubberized grabbers have to kind of reform. This actually might be the same piece of equipment from the Fisker Ocean, but this is in the back seat, and the one in the back seat of the Ocean literally wouldn't hold anything except a really cheap water bottle. You've also got a little bit of cup holder action over there, so you can slide something in there, and that means you've got 4 slots for a current and an old drink in the back seat. And here's your window. All the way down. That's an interior tour. Let's take a drive. I've got my cameraman Shane with me now. First thing we're going to do is close the garage door, which now that has been applied, you can do that very easily. Controls, see more controls, universal remotes, you do it there. I've got a short on how to do that already up, and we are going to press the button, and there goes my garage door. Next, we're going to put it in gear, which is this. And to put it in gear, both drive and reverse, it's going to be foot on the brake, pull back and up for reverse, pull back and down for drive. And then this indicator here, you've got auto hold. That's going to show you when you're holding. So that's the big H in the Ocean, but that is your auto hold. So you know that. And obviously if you're in drive, it's going to auto hold. But if you notice, when I put it in reverse, it's going to go away. This is a creep. So if you release the brake pedal, then you're going to start to creep immediately. So I'm instantly creeping backwards already, and I don't press the accelerator. So you will do a little bit of a creep. Now I am pressing the accelerator now a little bit on and off, but there is no option in here to turn the creep off, at least that I've found so far. So right now you get a creep in reverse. And if there is, I'll make a correction right now. And we're going to go to the store. So super simple. Once again, like I said, I'm going to go down the hill to get to the store here because I want to show you that just the amount of kilowatts you can get with regen braking. And this is educational for me because this is the first car I've had that actually has that available to me. So right here is where your kilowatts are displayed. And so we'll go down the hill and do a little regen here. Blinker sound is pretty nice. The display of the blinker is digital, and so there's no actual physical representation of it. It's just there on the screen. All right, so if we're going down the hill and I just release the accelerator, then we're going to start to get that charge. And there's 25, 26 kilowatts. So you know how fast, 26 kilowatts is faster than any AC charger can do. And that was just from a really slow speed. So it's a really nice way to show what you're doing. And I feel like the more that we do that, see, I'm just going down the hill and I'm actually on the accelerator, but I'm still doing 30 kilowatts of regen. But I really feel like getting this kind of data is what will help people get familiar with electrification. I had a guy recently in a comment say that electrification is not safe and that the chargers are in the wrong places and they're unsafe. But that same comment that was obviously copied and pasted because it was like 1,000 words also said that EV chargers exploding is very frequent. So obviously not a lot of research done there, or I get a feeling that it's kind of the opposite of research, if you get my drift. If you notice, the Prologue is really quiet. It does have a creep sound, but the creep sound is, I would say, not off-putting. The Ocean sound sounded like an alien and a robot were having a war, and neither one could decide what the sound is supposed to be. This one is really similar to the Honda Clarity and is, like I said, very easy. And I just had to creep between a couple cars. This car is wide. You will notice it's wide. It is going to give you a little bit more of that width of a feel. Now, I've noticed also this steering wheel is not only shared with the Blazer EV, it's also shared with the Equinox EV. So if you get to see one of those, this entire setup is going to be really similar to that. I can go through these controls pretty quickly. Here is your set and speed as far as your cruise control. You turn cruise control on here, and then down to set, and then resume is also going to be right here. This is your cancel button. So these are your two cruise buttons, which I'm still kind of getting used to, but they're pretty intuitive once you figure out that's what these are. This is your following distance. There's only 3 levels. Once you set this, if you press up and hold for 2 seconds, it'll give you 5 more miles an hour. I found this is even nicer than the roll on the Tesla wheel. I really like that. And the tactile feel of these is really high quality. Once again, durability, we don't really know much about, but right now the feel of that is really nice. It doesn't feel plasticky, even though I do feel like it's probably some kind of a plastic coating there, but the silvery feel is really nice there, and I'm a big fan of it. Right now I'm waiting for a car to come by. Got a little bit of a small area on this road and some on-street parking, but the car's really quiet. Once you go over probably 22 miles an hour, I'm not sure, it might be 25, the creep sound's going to go away. But you don't really feel like you need a lot of power in this car, and I don't think it's going to perform like you want it to were you to apply power and start to turn. You don't ever feel like you're not planted. You feel much more planted than you would in a gasoline SUV of this size. Like, it's kind of a night and day thing, but you're not going to get any kind of performance or sporty feel in this car. This car is definitely designed for family driving, slow driving. 288 horsepower in a gas vehicle this size, no one would complain about, but 288 horsepower for an electric vehicle this size is a little bit less than what Tesla has done, really, and that's the competition. Charging works really well on a home charger. I do level 1 most of the time, and I have access to a level 2 for this car, but I don't drive enough to need a level 2. However, if you charge on level 1, it takes a while for the battery pack to balance and recognize all the charge is there. And if you charge from a low state of charge, let's say 35, 40% or lower, up to right around 70, 80%, there is about a 9% phantom charge that the car doesn't recognize right away. So if I unplug it at, let's say, 70%, I'll come back a day later, 8 hours later after I unplug, and it might say 80%. I've noticed that the change is right around, the delta is like 9% on a big charge. And now it may be the fact that I use a Tesla adapter, because I have a Tesla plug and Electron level 1 or 2 adapter. There's a Rivian, you can catch that real quick, a little Rivian R1T action. I use a Tesla charger and Electron adapter. Now that maybe some of the losses that come through there make it hard to measure, but what I do think is going on is that the Ultium pouch cells take longer to balance if they're coming through that level 1. And I also noticed that the charging in the level 1 is fairly slow, like 1 kilowatt at the maximum. It says 1 kilowatt, but I figure there's some rounding going on. It might even be as low as 0.8 kilowatts, which is what the Ocean charged at, to be fair. Now, if I plug a Tesla charger into a Tesla, you're going to get 1.6 kilowatts. So it's almost twice as fast in the Tesla. And what this is from, let's say 30% to 75, which is what I have it set at right now for daily driving, is 75%. But that 30 to 75% is like 2 days and change. It's like 2.5 days. People always ask, you know, do you need a level 2 charger? It all depends on what you're actually doing with your car. I don't think you need one. I think that you can supplement not having one with some DC fast charging in the event that you need more than that. But if you don't have a long commute, you're going to get between 40 and 60 miles a day on a level 1 charger. So if that's all the driving you're doing, well, you don't need a level 2. Now, a level 2 will get you, I mean, 8 hours, 9 hours on this thing is going to get you from 20 to 80. So, and that's all it is. And my level 2 is not fast either. I have a 1030 plug, but this thing will do 11.5 kilowatts. So you can get as much speed as you want. That's pretty much the top of what anybody would need on a level 2, unless you're an Uber driver and you charge at home. I mean, I can't really think of a whole lot of scenarios where, you know, 3 hours to full is not fast enough. But, you know, there are definitely situations where that would be possible. It's just because I haven't experienced them doesn't mean you won't. There's really just not a lot to complain about here. It's really comfortable. The seats are, like I said, a little bit firmer than the Tesla seats, but the suspension makes up for that difference. And I've already done a long trip in this car, absolutely no back pain or anything like that. I have lumbar that I can adjust in the event that I need that. I'm not really a lumbar guy myself, but there's just not a lot to report. If you ask for acceleration, like if I really just stomp it, it's not the most responsive. You get response immediately, but you don't get all the beans. In fact, I don't even think I've put this pedal to the floor. I haven't found a use for it. In the event that you do give it a little bit more acceleration though, it's not excited about it, let's say. It does give you what you ask for, but it doesn't feel like it's determined to do it. Whereas a Tesla just says, no, that's not enough. Drive me faster. You can drive faster. But on the other end, I will say that the one pedal driving setting, the regular one pedal driving normal setting. So if I turn it on, it's blue. And then if I turn it off, it's gone. But if I turn it on, it's blue. And then if I go to set level, this setting right here is the best, most comfortable one pedal driving I've ever experienced in a car. It is better than the Tesla. Now that's a preference. I would say the Tesla is stronger and more versatile in most situations because the pedal is so well done, and the pedal mechanics as well, as far as the throttle map on both ends, the regen and the throttle for acceleration, are done so well in the Tesla. But in this car, it's just the most comfortable. It's comfortable for all the riders. It's comfortable for you as a driver. And then because it isn't the highest setting, you have an alternative. And I can show you that once we get pulled into this parking lot. And it's really easy to pull into stuff because that turning radius is excellent. It beats the pants off of a Tesla as far as the turning radius. Once you come in here, and if I want more, you have this little tab right here. Once the steering wheel comes back around, this is your regen tab, and there's buttons on the back of the steering wheel that these are your presets for next track, previous track on the left side, and your audio volume is here on the right. But on the left side, right above your next track, previous track, preset, whatever you want to call it or whatever you're doing, is that regen paddle. And if I grab it, it really slows the car down. And if you need extra regen, I feel like that's the best way to do it. And then there's another newer car that's different. That's a Toyota Crown. I wish those were plug-in hybrids. I think the Toyota Crown would be a car I would even recommend to some people to get if it was a plug-in hybrid. Currently, I can't recommend you buy a new Toyota. I can definitely recommend you buy a used Toyota, because if you can get a good deal on one and it has low mileage, their Toyotas are just notoriously reliable. So here we are. We've made it to the grocery store. That's a tour so far. We'll do some more once we get back out. Here's a quick look at your trunk. There's no side storage compartments, but there is a pretty nice underfloor storage, and it is really, really wide. And it's also high off the ground. But you can definitely put some stuff down in there. And there's your tire inflate kit and a massive tow hook, as well as a little grocery hook. All right, and finally, let's pull into the garage. I have a really tight situation here, so I'm going to try to help you understand what it's like to pull in with this tight situation. And I really have to watch right over there, and then obviously over here. So I'm really tight. And the Prologue is significantly bigger than my previous Model Y. So, especially on the width side. So here we go. We got to swing out a little bit and swing in a little bit. And I'm using the throttle here because drive is an ease in. This is what they call parking assist. And it is not parking assist, it is just the ultrasonic sensors, but they're very sensitive and they're extremely helpful in letting you know exactly how close you are to something. So I will say it's really well implemented, but parking assist is, well, it's kind of like autopilot. It's not exactly doing what it says. I'm really close over here. And it's kind of how I have to get in. Now I jerked there because there's also auto brake, which is an option. You can turn it on and off, but I can just show you how extra close I am right there. And that's just kind of how I have to do it. But once I'm through there, it gets a little easier. If you do put it in reverse, the Model Y would lower the mirrors at the ground, so you'd have a better idea what's going on. This car does not, and obviously we're looking at a lower res rear view camera than the Tesla. But I'm just squeezing in as we go. And I wanted you to get an idea of the parking assist. If you are engaging this parking assist, it will beep in the speaker of the car corresponding to the angle that you're at. So if you are close on the rear passenger side, the rear passenger speakers will alert you. So that's really helpful as to what exactly you're being alerted to. Definitely nice. And then, of course, I have the old school method of the roll of tape hanging from the ceiling that hits me in the windshield when I know I'm in. The car will actually stop. That was the car stopping itself. Once again, I can turn that off. And that's what it sounds like when the parking assist starts to work. And you can see that it has decided I'm way too close at every angle except maybe the right-hand side a little bit. And that is pulling in to the garage in the Prologue. What questions do you have? Let me know down in the comments. Join Patreon or become a YouTube member for early access to videos. Subscribe for more. We'll see you on the next one. You're going to get the blue, and it's going to turn green and flash when you're charging. And then very conveniently, it will tell you, see, 12:15 a.m. Saturday. So it's going to be 6 hours to go from 72 to 75%.
Hey, smash the like button.
Thank you.